I know modulation was a big part of what V2 was all about, and it didn't really respond the way I had expected it would. And I don't know, maybe you could tell us a little bit about the concept behind it.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting because you have in V1 something that was never, you know, we put some amount of modulation in it, but it was never really dependent on it, and you can kind of shut it off. So it gave me a lot of liberty when I went to working with V2, where I never felt like I had to have as, you never really had to turn it off. I mean, if you were not looking for modulation, you can just use a V1 preset. I mean, I don't know if that's fair or not, but that was my mindset, so that I could specifically design an algorithm that incorporated modulation throughout the design, and not just in one area, but in just about every area. And so it made it really fun because I never had to turn it off and, you know, and make it sound good without the modulation. So it allowed me to go as far as I could with that idea. And you know, the control that you're talking about, the modulation control, because the modulation is pretty much always on, and it's always trying to be in there and laying in there in a nice subtle way. You know, I have an aesthetic as to where I like chorusing and various forms of modulation to be, and I think people that have used 480s or other boxes that, you know, 224s that will really show the modulation in a very nice way. You know, you got to realize there's a sweet spot, because most everybody sort of picks a certain sweet spot on it, and if you go one way or the other from that sweet spot, it just, you know, it doesn't really sound, you know, as well as it could. And but more importantly, I felt, was the style of the type, that, you know, technically what was going on in the modulation. What the modulation control, most simply put, is that when you have it set very low, it kind of uses very early forms of modulation. And as you dial it forward, it gets into sort of a 224 realm. As you dial it, you start to change it. You can get intermediate steps, obviously, but when you get up to around 6, 7, 8, you're really in 480 territory. And you go above that, and you're more into modern, modulated, but not really able to hear it realm. We're sort of turning our attention now internally to V3, and again, kind of getting back to the question about, or what I had talked about earlier in response to your question, was, you know, people sending me saying, well, you know, one of the things they always ask, are you going to come out with a surround unit? And I'm happy to say yes, but again, this is not in any way saying we're going to ever build any more hardware. Our goal from the very beginning was to build 2-channel pieces of a mainframe that you could build over time. So the first thing we did was add the M10 Remote, which is sitting here on the console. And we also have developed the M7M, which is just a reduced functionality front panel. It's the same thing as an M7 inside. It just doesn't have a front panel, and it can only be used with the M10 Remote. So the combination of those additions to the family now completes everything that we ever wanted to build in our Reverb hardware. So if somebody says, well, what about surround? The V3 software that we're developing is really designed to really bring the ease of use to surround. You know, there are people on the bleeding edge right now that are using, some great folks using the Bricasti and surround, particularly in Hollywood or near Hollywood for a lot of the Hollywood movies and things. But it's not really there yet. I mean, there's more extra work that has to go on and setting things up, which I think they enjoy doing, because they're those kinds of folks. They wouldn't have bought it in the first place if they didn't enjoy doing that. But I think to make it more accessible and to continue in the spirit of what we've tried to do is make it simple to use and get sounds very quickly. V3 will be all about getting surround easier to use. And the M10 is very underutilized right now. There's a lot of compute resource in that. I guess everything we make is overkill now. I don't know, but it has a lot of compute resource, and that will be brought to bear to better bring a user interface that can pull together multiple M7 or M7Ms and tell them what their role in the surround soundstage is, as well as bring specific presets to the combination of your mainframe system. So if you build 3 M7Ms and an M10, and we sell a package system 3, that is that. You'll be able to sit down and program just on the M10, select all of the types of things that you really should be able to do for a surround system. So the surround presets, talking about assigning roles to systems, and why would you want to tell a system that it was a rear channel? A lot of that has to do with setting up decorrelation elements within Reverb, so that what you hear now in terms of the stereo soundstage, which I think is one of the nice aspects of what the Bricasti Reverb can do today, but bring that to your rear channels or your side channels and so forth. So all of that will just be taken care of under the hood, and you won't have to think about that. Today it's a little bit more complicated.
Well, it's really nice that you guys have developed a platform that we can sort of make the initial investment and know that it's going to continue to sort of develop and improve, and I understand that V2 is actually going to be shipping to users for free.
Oh yeah, and V3 will too. I mean, everything that we do is always going to be going out there. I mean, the product is expensive enough, and the very least that we can do is to continue to add value to people's investments. It's
incredible. I mean, it's a wonderful commitment to, it's a wonderful commitment to the product that you guys have envisioned here, and I know it's an unveiling of a many year strategy, but I think it's a real great thing. For those of us who may have been skeptics about the idea of hardware and making the investment, that you guys have a real commitment to continue to improve it, because it's for many people. I mean, you guys have been backordered forever. For many people, V1 alone is worth its weight in gold. So,
well, it's fun for us. That's the thing, is that this is something that Brian and I sat down and said, this is kind of what we want to do, and so it's not a bad gig. So we enjoy it, and we absolutely want people to participate in that enjoyment. So charging for it didn't seem right.